Okay. So we'll give it 10 seconds. Okay, so hopefully we're good here. Um, so, like we were saying, the grapes chart is something that you are going to be doing basically every semester or every um, unit that we have. So, it is very important that we know how to use them, what they are, and how they work. So, at this point, you should have already gone to the classwork for today. And when you look on today's classwork, you will see our um, link to the grapes chart, right? So if we went to today's classwork, what is grapes chart? I will explain what the grapes chart is, what we use it for, and how it works. Okay? So basically, the grapes chart is where we keep all of our information from our learning on the units that we are doing. Okay. So you will see that the grapes chart is broken into three sections. The first section here are our notes boxes, and there is a different color coded notes box for each grape, right? You will also notice that for each grape, I put what our learning goals are for that grape. So when we had our geography stuff up there, this is what was written on the board is our learning goal. I can evaluate the impact of the physical geography of Greece on the culture and people of ancient Greece. When we get to religion, this is what you will be expected to know for the religion of Greece. When we get to advancements and achievements, politics, economics, and social structure, those are what you will be expected to know. Okay. So this first box or this first section, this is where we're going to put all of the notes that helps us to understand what we are doing. We'll go back and explain that in a little more detail here in just a moment. The second section, so scroll down till you see this, where it says topic, and then there are 5 bullet point little things. Okay, so scroll down till you see that. This is our second section. This section is all about organizing our information to create our answer to our key question. So basically those first note boxes, that's where we're putting all the stuff that we learn, and we organize it by grade. This second section, you're going to say, okay, from everything I learned about the geography of Greece, what are the top 5 things that I can use to help me to answer the key question? And if you notice, the key question is right over here. Okay. How did the physical geography of Greece affect the way ancient Greeks were able to move, communicate, trade, and govern themselves? So, out of everything we learned about the physical geography of Greece, you're going to say, okay, out of all these things that I learned, question, are we good? Good. Okay. Out of everything that I've learned, here are the top 5 things that help me to answer this question. Okay. That's kind of the second part. We'll talk about that in a little bit more detail too. Our third part, scroll down till you see some things that say reflection. Okay. This page is where you will answer the key question for each of our grapes. Okay, so where it says reflection, that's where you're actually going to put your answer to the question. So remember how I said you're going to start off with the notes boxes with lots of information. Then you're going to pick your top 5 pieces of information that can help you to answer the question. And then in this box, that's where you will actually write your answer to the key question. So let's kind of work together a little bit on some of this. Now, your boxes look a little bit different because yours have a strike through on everything but the geography box. So on mine up here, you can see all the different questions and stuff like that. On yours, you've kind of got it like where it's crossed off because I wanted us to focus on the geography part. So, as a class, we are going to think through and come up with 2 or 3 facts that we can put into our grapes chart. So remember how I told you we would go into a little bit more detail? So this first part of the grapes chart, it is important for you to understand for our notes, this is not just a place to put cool, fun facts. Can you do some of that? Yes, but our main goal here is to include information that we feel helps us to complete the learning goal for that grape. So if our learning goal is to evaluate the impact of the physical geography on Greece, the physical geography of Greece on the culture and the people, we should try to think through our notes, everything that we have learned from our readings, from the videos that we've watched, from the notes that we've done, from the Quizlet decks that we've done. We want to think about what we know about the geography of Greece and how that affected the people and the culture, okay? When you look in the box, you will see that there's a number 1 in the box. This is a numbered list. So after you type each fact or each piece of information, hit enter and it will automatically number them for you to help keep your facts organized. So as a class, what is something that we know about the physical geography of Greece that can help us to evaluate its impact on the culture? Yeah. Okay, so Greece has a lot of mountains. Let's be a little bit more specific. What do we know about those mountains? Okay, that are tall, rocky, and jagged, right? Because that is going to help us to understand the effect that it has on the culture. If they had lots of rolling mountains that weren't super tall, would that have a different impact than tall, super rocky, super steep mountains? Yeah, what you got? Okay, yeah. There are very steep valleys and canyons, right? That could have a potential impact as well. Yeah. Lots of blue salt water. And why is the fact that it's blue important? I would disagree. I think it is really important. It shows the depth of the water. Remember, the deeper the blue, the deeper the water. So yeah, that's super important. Dark blue equals deep water. So yeah, I think that's super important. Like if you wouldn't have said blue water, okay, but I do think that that's important because if it's deep blue water very close to shore, that tells us they're going to be able to have like shipping and boats that can be heavy boats. Okay, so let's maybe do one more as a class. Then what's going to happen is in your table groups, you are going to come up with 3 additional facts. So what's one more fact about the physical geography of Greece that might help us? Yeah. Lots of coastline that is easily accessible. Okay? Yeah, if you've got lots of coastline that's easy to get to, how is that going to affect the way that you live, work, and move? That's a very good one. So, what you are going to do next as a table group. As a table group, we're going to come up with at least three other facts that we can use to help answer this question. Remember, we can think about stuff like, do we know the different parts of Greece? Could it be important that there's a Peloponnesus and that there's an isthmus and that there's a mainland? Could it be important? So love that. Trade routes, that's kind of a good one, but that doesn't really go quite with geography, does it? Where would we put the stuff about trade routes? Because you are definitely correct, and I love the fact that you used your map. But where might trade routes make a little bit more sense? Yeah. Achievements? Where else could it make? Because I think there's a couple that might even make more sense than that. Yeah. You say movement? Yeah, movement. Yeah. Rags up there. Social structure and economics. Yeah, I think definitely economics. Yeah. Okay. So I am going to give you about 4 minutes to come up with 3 additional geography related facts in our class. Then we will get back together. Fair warning, I will be calling on some groups to share what they wrote. Any questions on what we're doing? Okay, lights are going to go to purple. Ready, set. Okay, so like we said, I'm going to be kind of calling us to help fill out the rest of our chart. Is there a table group that has another thing about the physical geography of Greece that they would like to share? Yeah. Okay. So what do these trees look like? Are they big foresty trees? Or are they kind of brushy looking trees? Would we say that Greece is like a forest? Yes, no. Would we classify Greece as a forest? No. So there are some trees, but not tons of them. Why would that be important? Are they going to have unlimited use of lumber? Or are they going to have to make decisions on how they use their trees and use their lumber? They're going to have to make decisions. And what did they choose to use their wood for? Making houses or making boats and ships? Right. So there are some trees, but not tons. Greeks chose to use wood for ships, not houses. That's important to know. All right, what else we got? Yeah. Right. So we've got the Corinthian Isthmus connects the Greek mainland and the Peloponnesus. And the Peloponnesus. Yeah. Lots of peninsulas, lots of islands. And then you had a question? So it's Corinthian Isthmus. Peninsulas. So there are lots of peninsulas, lots of islands. Awesome. Maybe a couple more. Yeah. So that is definitely correct. Is that a physical geography thing? So the hill is, but the fortress part would not be, right? So that would be either fun fact or that would be great for achievements or politics. But the actual plateau that's the Acropolis would be the important part for physical geography, right? So Greeks used tall plateaus for protection and city planning, right? So the Acropolis itself, because that's a really good use of geography, right? If you've got a huge plateau that you can defend, it makes sense to put a fort there, doesn't it? Now the building of the fort, that's not physical geography. Is it geography? Yes, but it's human geography. It's not physical geography. The actual peninsula or plateau would be great. One more. Did you have a group one here? Yeah. Okay. So, and how could that help us answer our learning goal question? Because I'm not going to say you're wrong. There are lots of caves. But if our question is, I can evaluate the impact of physical geography of Greece on culture and people, we'd have to figure out and be able to know how they use caves is either part of their culture or things like that. Yeah.
They have lots of caves with deep, like, oh my gosh, lots of deep caves rich with minerals, and since they have such a surplus of those, they
Okay. There you go. So we had an incomplete answer. Now we've got a complete answer. There are lots of caves with surpluses, and I love that we're using that great social studies word. Of metals, MET, metals, minerals, and jewels. Yeah, great. Fantastic. So we've got a pretty good list here. This is enough for us to understand the second part of how the grapes chart works. So what I need for you to do is scroll down to section 2, this part right here. You will use this page to organize your top 5 pieces of information that you will use to create your answer to the key question. You do not have to go searching on the internet. You do not have to find new facts. We are using the facts that we identified in our fact boxes above. Okay? So remember, we have like 10 facts in our geography fact box. We have 10 pieces of information. We are only going to use 5 to answer our key question. So if you look here, here's our key question. How did the physical geography of Greece affect the way ancient Greeks were able to move, communicate, trade, and govern themselves? So out of those 10 facts that are up there, you are going to pick 5. That means 5 are not going to get chosen. So out of all the stuff that we identified up here, you're going to ask yourself, out of these 10 facts, which 5 can I use that will really help me to show how the physical geography affected the way people in Greece moved around the island, the way they traded with each other, or what they had to trade, what they had a surplus and what they had a deficit of, how they chose to govern themselves, how they picked the different types of leadership styles, okay? And you're going to put those top 5 things here, okay? You will organize them. So fact number 1 is going to be what is, in your opinion, the most important, okay? Fact number 5 is going to be, we'll call it the worst of the best. Because remember, even though this is your bottom one, even though this is number 5, there are still 5 other facts that didn't even make this list. So fact number 5 is still a good fact. It's just not as strong as evidence as fact number 1 is. So what I need for you to do now with your table groups, you are going to decide what are the top 5 facts that you're going to be using. Now, it is okay if you and your shoulder partners have some disagreements. So you all don't have to have the same exact top 5. But I do want us to have this time to kind of discuss it and think through it and work together. But each person is responsible for their own top 5 list. You can discuss with each other. Should this turn into an argument where you're like, you're wrong, no, you're wrong? Is that the kind of energy we want? No, we can discuss. If you guys agree, that's great. If you have differences of opinion, that's okay too. Okay, so our lights are going to turn to purple. You are going to have about 5 minutes to decide what 5 facts, in your opinion, help you to best answer the question for geography. Ready, set, go. We have identified a bunch of different facts about the physical geography of Greece, right? You have taken those facts and you have picked your top 5 that you think can help you answer the question. Please scroll down to the 3rd section. It's this one where it says reflection. So this is the page where you will actually answer the key question for each of our grapes. So our key question for geography, remember, was next to the thing, right? This is where you're going to type out your response. Where it says reflection, you are going to write a good middle school response that uses our evidence, those top 5 things that you identified, to help explain our geography of Greece. So, in just a moment, you will have time to work on your reflection. This is going to be an independent thing, okay? So, I love that some of us are already starting thinking about it. A good answer will use our information from this grapes chart. You do not need to go and find any new facts. You should have all the information you need in your prior knowledge and here. So you will use your evidence that you have identified here to help you to answer this question. So a good middle school answer will address all of these. So if you just talk about the way that physical geography helped them trade, did you answer this question well? No. You want to make sure that you talk about how the physical geography affected the way they moved and where they could move, how they were able to communicate with each other, how and what they were able to trade. The answer here about caves and minerals is a really good one because that had a surplus of things that they could trade away, and how they governed themselves. Remember our city-state video that we watched talked about the different city-states and how Greece could never really come together because the mountains kept them separated. So you need to make sure that your answer is addressing all of those issues, okay? So are you going to be able to do this answer in like a 1-sentence response? No, it's probably going to be a good middle school paragraph, okay? So at this point, well, I guess I need to stop talking because I just got jinxed, but I don't know if I could stop talking because we have to like do this. So I need for you to unjinx me. I don't know. Thank you. Okay, so you will have the rest of class to start constructing your answer here in the reflection part, okay? If you don't get all the way done today, that is okay, but you should be able to get a pretty good chunk. Our lights are going to stay red and we will have some background music. Any questions on what a grapes chart is or how we use it? Cool.